Heyo, this is the final Boosh.
And this is Madhouse.
So, this is pretty much an unstructured video, so it's just gonna be a whole bunch of ranting today.
About what?
Modern fighting games. You've been hearing it more or less throughout our content with like Mash Masters in particular. Today, after the whole MK1 Chameleon not fixing anything patch,
it bubbled up to the surface.
It's just, I gotta say something, so this is gonna be super unstructured, kind of ranty.
It's not gonna be a consistent thing for the channel.
It's gonna try not to be.
This is about fighting game positivity a lot of the time. Not every fighting game have to be great.
I wouldn't even say it's about fighting game positivity. It's just about fighting games. So when I see, well, fighting game, we got a lot of other things going on nowadays.
Yeah.
But it's mostly fighting games. It's for the love of fighting games. So when I see the genre bleeding out the way it is, there's only so much I can take before I have to say something. And luckily, I have a platform now to do it. Whether you listen or not, that's up to you.
It's like a father seeing his kid hurt.
I guess. So just bear with us. This is our first time doing this. Might be a little rough, okay? We'll have some footage in the background. Just superfluous footage of anything, really.
First thing first, I would like to thank the 116 subscribers we have.
I think so, yeah.
I want to thank all of you. It may seem small, but it's not that small to us. We weren't even expected to get this far.
We really weren't.
Thank you for if you leave a comment. Thank you for the like. Thank you if you just viewed. It's really appreciated.
It is, truly. I know a lot of YouTubers say that, and I guess we're not any different.
Well, I mean it.
Well, I'm sure they mean it too.
I know, but I really wasn't expecting to get this far.
All right, we're going off subject.
Okay.
I guess I should preference first that this isn't about any particular game. It's about the genre as a whole. I don't care how you feel about MK1. I don't care how you feel about Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I don't care about any of that. Guilty Gear Strive. I don't care about any of that. And I guess we should also say that this is our opinion. You don't have to agree. You don't have to like it.
Hold up, SNK, go outside and play.
What do you mean?
The rest of them in trouble. SNK, go outside and play.
I'm trying to wait for Garo 2.
I know, but right now, SNK, go outside and play.
I'm trying to wait for Garo 2. I want to see what Garo 2 is, because it might fall into the same pit everybody else falling up into.
It don't matter. We still got KOF 15 and Samsho out of them.
They're the last line of defense, I want to say.
This is not towards SNK.
Yeah, this is not towards SNK. This is not towards, like, obviously not like indie devs or people who are trying to make simpler games and things like that. That's fine. This is solely about mainstream fighting games. So Capcom, NRS, Napco, Arc System Works, all this stuff. And to be fair, like I said, we're going to be firing from the hip. It might not always be accurate. I'm not saying that as in like we're some 100% unfollowable form of information.
No,
okay?
We're going to be wrong.
We're going to be wrong. I'm not here to attack your game. It shouldn't even be your game. It should just be people who like fighting games. But fine, I'll say it. I'm not attacking your game in particular. So if we have something negative to say about your game, fine. It's our opinion.
Tough titties.
Tough titties. So I guess we should start with what got us in this little episode. And I'm not talking about TV episode. I'm talking about conniption.
The drop bag MK1.
Yeah, I think we made no lie here that we're more partial to MK than most fighting games.
Yeah.
We just grew up with it. It did a lot for us when it comes to characters and story. I think the gameplay is fine. If you think it's stiff, that's fine. But I usually like what they put up. I usually like what they put out. Not MK11, mind you, but I usually like what they put up.
They're usually pretty solid. MK is one of those games that never had to juggle audiences.
Right, because they spent so much time combining a semi fleshed out game, when it comes to depth, and having a game that also catered to casuals in a way where they never had to sacrifice anything before. You could definitely see that in MKX.
It always rode the middle.
It always rode the middle, and I thought it always rode the middle quite well.
Easy enough to learn, easy enough to play, but deep enough to sink your teeth into.
To keep you invested. That's just how we feel.
Not MK11.
Not MK11, man. MK11 was the paradigm shift of the series, I feel. And MK1 was they were touting, this is the longest developed MK game. We put our foot into this one because there was a big drop between that and 11. So we put our foot into this one, and they kept bragging about it. So when they're bragging about it, we're like, oh, they got a lot to show. They must have big plans for this game, huh? Well, lo and behold, 4 months later, we're in the middle of a desync problem. We're in the middle of $10 costumes.
We're in the middle of buying mechanics.
Oh, well, yeah, we should talk about that. Now, I never claimed to be a businessman. I don't have a business degree. I don't know how companies work on the inside. All I can go by is what is presented in front of me and how I feel about it. All I'm saying is, why the fuck are we buying mechanics?
System mechanics.
And I don't care what you say, assists are goddamn system mechanics.
MK1 is not a tag game. It is an assist-based fighter. The assist is the system mechanics. That's the equivalent of buying the drive mechanics in Street Fighter 6.
That's like buying Aki, and she's bare, and you have to spend another $5 to buy her drive mechanic.
That's like buying assists off of MVC.
That's like buying Wolverine, and then you have to buy his individual assist.
It's ridiculous, and whoever buy it is the problem.
They're part of the problem. Who can argue this fact? I don't blame people who got grifted. Let's say for the sake of a better term, I don't mind the people who got grifted, who got the combat pack or whatever it's called, the battle pass, or whatever the fuck it's called. We didn't know how they would market the cameos. I think like everybody else, we also thought that the cameos would be coming along with the character.
Yeah, because I remember on the first character, Omni-Man, was it?
No,
Omni-Man.
It was Omni-Man? Okay.
I remember with the first character, it was huge confusion on Shrimmer.
Right, it was.
And mind you, I don't mind buying the characters.
I don't mind buying
characters. The characters are standard, but I draw the fucking line at buying system mechanics.
And that's what they are. Who's gonna argue that assists aren't system mechanics? They're integral parts to a character. You can't go into a match without an assist.
As of right now,
you can play the game without Omni-Man.
As of right now, we drop no money on MK1.
I dropped no money on MK1. $10 costumes, I draw the line. And I can understand if they were truly recreations of their original costumes. And I don't even mind the differences, because I know that modern sensibilities won't allow girls to show legs. So I'll take some changes here and there, if it's reasonable changes.
Every bit of MK1 so far has been sidestepping the audience and gouging them for money.
Yeah.
And how people don't see that.
They do see that.
And how people refuse to vote with their wallet as they sit there and get systematically robbed is ridiculous.
And that's what I'm calling it. They're robbing people. They're robbing people. I don't understand. I don't think anybody had this argument that buying assists is truly a bad thing.
It's a system mechanic.
I don't hear anybody else saying anything else about this. They can say, oh, I don't like $10 costumes.
Fine.
Oh, well, I don't like this and that. But the biggest problem for me with MK1, outside of, and we'll get to all that. This might be a long video. We're just going to fire off. But the biggest problem with MK1 is that. That's where my anger lies with MK1. There's a lot more anger involved, but that's where my true anger lies.
I don't mind buying Quan Chi. I don't mind buying Omni-Man. I don't mind buying Takeda. Those are stuff we came to expect, especially when MK have a very large and pretty diverse roster.
Well, it would be diverse.
But we'll get to that.
Nah, let's get to it now.
Hold up, though. I do want to talk about some positive of MK, because MK do have good gameplay. MK is literally, and I'm sorry if you don't feel this way, I'm sorry if the animation's not up to code, or you assume they're not flipping or using a tons of motion blur,
or a block button or whatever.
Or a block, whatever, or zoning, whatever the hell you want to say. When it comes down to all the modern games, MK, despite the issues it has right now, has the most expressive gameplay out of every other fighting game right now.
Ideally. Ideally, if we're talking about what the game should be, yes. What we got ain't that, Chief.
It's still more expressive than other games.
No, because it wants to be open, but NRS won't make it open.
No, because they too busy cutting characters off at the knees.
They destroy every other archetype that's not rushed at.
Blind rush now.
That's not blind rushed at. Zoning. Oh well, you need bad fireballs.
Grapplers. Oh, you need high command grabs.
Well, what else? What else we got? It's just the power.
Natara is a rushdown character. Is she like one of the worst ones in the game?
I don't understand why Mortal Kombat has to be this. They're trying to make it this footsies-based fighter, and I'm not saying the game needs to be completely unga bunga, but you need you need to allow the game characters to do things in the game. You need to allow them to do things in the game.
The power level need to be in the characters.
The power, we said this before, the power level needs to be in the characters. It cannot be in the system mechanics. And for what it's worth, that's another positive, MK1's presumed power is already in the characters. It's just not all the characters.
I agree.
So Mortal Kombat 1 isn't dangling by its eyelids by system mechanics. Fair enough. That's never positive I'll give the game.
Yeah.
Why is the netcode of MK1 worse than MKX?
And for the front runners of rollback, that's what I'll call them. At least out of the big three, that's what I'll call them. And NetherRealm were the front runners of modern game rollback.
I guess we could argue. We might be a little off on that, but I want to say that was our first introduction.
Even if you don't want to say it, they had the best netcode at the time.
I will say that for our argument, that was our introduction to a mainstream game having rollback.
They had the best netcode at the time.
Okay, fine.
Street Fighter V didn't, and Tekken 7 didn't.
Was Tekken 7 out during MKX?
Yes.
You sure?
I think Tekken 7 is out for damn near 10 years at this point.
Okay, well, whatever.
Whatever. The thing that you agree with that they had the best netcode.
I'll concede.
Okay.
I don't get how you make a game that now we're elbow deep into the rollback revolution. Every game's getting rollback. Even games that came out 5-10 years ago is getting rollback.
KOF 13.
Even games that didn't have rollback are getting rollback. So now that everybody
Sam Show.
Now that rollback is his household name, that even indie games are getting sometimes. I forget what that game is called that had the bad netcode. But what is it called? Yggdrasil Attack on Cataclysm? Yggdrasil? Whatever. People would know. People would know.
Yggdrasil?
It has a wacky name.
Okay, well, go ahead.
But the sequel, it's called, let's just say it's called Attack on Cataclysm, I think.
Oh wait, maybe I think Cross Tekken may have rollback, or they were just really good delay base.
Whatever. We're see, like I said, it's ranty.
I'm sorry.
Because now we're just talking. We're forgetting we got a video to be. We're probably 15 minutes in. So why is that the case? MK1 netcode just feels worse. Now it could be because we have the PC version. So I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about the PS5 version because I'm not getting the PS5 because there's no games out for it. At least not for me. But the PC version, I have nothing but negative to say about the netcode.
Apparently, MK11 PC version wasn't good neither, though.
Well, that's NRS in general. They always put out shit PC.
It's PC in general now.
Huh?
Yeah, like PC having an issue in general now.
Nah, I look, for what it's worth, I never had a real issues with Street Fighter 6's PC port. I never had an issue with it.
I guess.
MK1 was a fucking nightmare. And it still is a fucking nightmare.
They was on the top, and they're literally on the bottom. Well, Tekken 8 withstanding, but they're literally on the bottom.
I just don't get it.
I don't understand how these companies, if you just do the right thing the first time,
or at least it doesn't even have to be the first time, but
it don't have to be perfect.
Correct the issue.
I'm not saying it has to be perfect, but if you just do the right thing, but the only thing they're doing is, and I'm gonna say it, relying on the stupidity of their audiences. That's all they doing. They're gonna buy it anyway. Dents.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to say the shill word.
No, I'm gonna say it because I managed to vote on my wallet. I bought nothing from Street Fighter 6. I bought nothing from MK11. Those games were not up to par. I'm not standing on a soapbox, but I deserve to because I actually voted on my wallet. Other people don't.
If you voted with your wallet, we went ahead and got the games.
No, I don't mind getting the game. You need to see what the game is firsthand.
fair, but it's just the desync issues. What? You just had a patch, and then people were crying about the desync issues, and then on Twitter they're like, "We hear that there's desync issues. We're gonna fix it as fast as we can." People were crying about the desync issues for more than a week. Why is it so hard to just fix the fucking game? I don't get it. If you want to talk about $10 costumes, if you want to talk about buying mechanics, that's all bridges we can cross. What should be the easiest thing NRS should do, and I get a lot of Mortal Kombat 1's issues comes from WB, but NetherRealm's hands aren't entirely clean.
Nope, just as bloody.
So it's not just as bloody, but they're complacent. They gotta be complacent to some level. Ed Boon has to know on some level.
And here's what I think they're going to do. They're going to fix the game. Don't get it wrong, they'll fix it. But it's going to be like MK1 Plus or MK1 Ultimate, where you got to shell out another $40 to $50, maybe $60 to $70 just for them to fix the basic shit they should have fixed 6 months into the game.
Yeah.
And people going to buy it anyway.
But I just don't understand how the easiest thing you should do, NRS, is fix the gameplay issues at the very least. I understand you want casuals to have fun, man, but casuals are hurting your game. Casuals are hurting fighting games.
Fuck casuals.
Yeah, but man, I don't want to go that far. Casuals have a right to play fighting games.
They have the right to play fighting games. They do. Everybody has the right to play anything. But when you start destroying your game, destroying mechanics, system mechanics, the properties and the fundamentals in your game, the bending it backwards for people who don't care about your game to begin with, that's an issue.
And that's, I won't say that's a major problem with Mortal Kombat.
No, that's definitely Street Fighter.
We'll get to that in a second. That's not a major problem with Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat just has, the core mechanics are fine. It's the limiters on the characters that are the problems.
They're being ran by two shitty companies.
Being ran by one unimpressive company and one monster is the problem. And Mortal Kombat 1, all they need to do is, I'm not saying make everything broken, but maybe you should make everything broken.
Allow zoning characters to zone. Allow grapple characters to grab. Allow Natara to actually function. Buff Sub-Zero to the way he was in the beta and stop teasing Tom. You're driving that man crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would say that, and that's why I'm so confused, because the easiest thing they should be able to do is fix the game.
Why do that when they could put minimum effort in for maximum reward?
Okay. We're already almost 20 minutes in, and we've been ranting about Mortal Kombat.
Yup, let's hit the other dude.
We'll talk about Street Fighter now. And my problems with Street Fighter aren't as big as Mortal Kombat. Because
Street Fighter is more of a
universal issue.
Moral issue.
Yeah,
Street Fighter is a virus.
Street Fighter 6.
Well, Guilty Gear Strive is a virus that spread to Street Fighter, but yeah.
Street Fighter 6 is indicative as a bigger issue. I don't think it has as much problems, obviously, as something that, I mean, was the $4 turtle costumes?
$15 turtle costumes, so I think.
They're not without their issues, but my problem with Street Fighter 6 stems from just the core of the game.
The gameplay.
It's
the opposite of MK.
It's the opposite of MK. MK is a fantastic fighting game. Don't care what you say. MK1 is a fantastic fighting game. It's a shitty product. Street Fighter 6 is an amazing product, but I think
fighting game.
Currently it's a shitty fighting game.
Both games are currently. As of what we have right now in our face, I don't think Street Fighter 6 is a good fighting game.
It's boring. And
it's shallow.
The whole game, and this applies to Street Fighter 6, this applies to most Japanese fighting games currently.
Grand Blue, Guilty Gear Strive, the predecessor to everything.
Tekken 8.
Probably most likely Tekken 8.
So, only reason I'm not ranting about Tekken 8 is hard because I don't care about Tekken. I care about Soul Calibur. I don't care about Tekken. So, if Tekken doesn't bother to teach me
you don't care about Tekken mechanically.
I don't care about Tekken mechanically because it's been the same since 3 and they never explain how to play their game. So I don't care, go to YouTube. I don't care about that. No, you teach me in-game how to control your box factory fucking
Street Fighter 6.
Sorry. Oh my God. I'm so sorry, people. Street Fighter 6, and you can like it. That's fine. But I feel that Street Fighter 6 is a bad fucking fighting game. Currently, relax, people. It's so casual, babyfied, where the whole game is essentially just check drive rush. And yeah, you can say, well, you don't have to do that at a certain level.
No. The whole game is strike, throw, check, drive, rush. That's the entire game. Because you can't play neutral because of drive rush. You can't apply pressure or any meaningful flexibility because of drive impact. And you can't have any form of uki
or jump-ins
or zoning or jumpings, anything that is meaningful within that neutral because of parry.
And that's Street Fighter 6's major problem. The opposite, like I said, of MK1. The neutral skipping is in the core mechanic, and then you give characters neutral skipping moves. So the game is just, well, I was on this side of the screen at one moment, and now I took my tiny green car underneath my feet and slid across the map. And then like you can see this with Ken.
And then people be like, oh, MK never had neutral. MK never had neutral. MK neutral is special. Each game, neutral is not some random blanket statement you can fit over every game.
That's what people do.
You work within the boundaries of the game. MK neutral is not the same as Street Fighter neutral. Street Fighter neutral is not the same as King of Fighters neutral. Each game got its own tapestry. People need to realize that.
I look at fighting games more like board games. You follow the rules of their game. And fighting games still need to abide by some law of common sense. It's kind of like ignoring gravity. You can't ignore gravity. We all know gravity is a thing, right? You just can't ignore it.
People do say the earth is flat.
It's only a matter of time for they come for gravity.
Yeah.
They came for the earth and I said nothing. But Street Fighter 6 is just everything. You're not telling me Street Fighter 6 is absolutely designed for babies. It's designed for casuals. The ranking system is designed for casuals, so much to the point where they had to add the MR system, which is just some kind of band-aid because so many people got in the master rank.
I've never seen a game where you reach the max rank, the max rank,
currently,
and they like, now the game begins. I'm not saying it shouldn't be MR and master. It should be, so you can, chef out the super masters or the potential legends from the lower masters, which is fine.
That wouldn't be the problem if the game wasn't the way it was.
Again, and I will say this, Dark Side Phil got master in your game with multiple characters. If that dude got multiple characters into master in your game, it's a failure of game design. I don't care if Dark Side Phil played, if MK1 was the most perfect game in the world, let's say it had no issues, and Phil liked it, instead of coping about it, if he liked it and he played rank, he will never get into master. Or Elder God, whatever the hell it's called.
Whatever the equivalent is.
He will never. He got multiple characters into master in Street Fighter 6. Failure of game design.
So yeah, but Street Fighter 6 is indicative of a bigger problem where they're just destroying their games to make them easier to understand for casuals. Grand Blue is a perfect example of this. Now I know a lot of people aren't stoked on Grand Blue. I think the first version of Grand Blue Fantasy Versus was perfect.
It was a bit too simple, but I can see why people like it.
It was a simple beauty to it. It was your guy versus my guy, your kit versus my kit.
Yeah, but I like flexibility.
That's fine.
And the game was you have to play this way.
I'm not saying it's for everybody, but it was the most distilled, focused game that came out in that last, like, it came in with an idea and it executed on that idea. And for what it was worth, I loved it. Now look at Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising, where we have 66L, which is might as well just be Drive Rush.
Pretty much.
Might as well just be Drive Rush. And then you have...
Even Tekken got Drive Rush.
Even Tekken has Drive Rush. And then you have Ultimate Moves, which are just fuck off neutral things that you burn 50% of your meter for a semi full screen option.
The game is a show of his former self.
The game is a show of his former self. I feel. It might be fun for some people, but like I said, I'm not here to tell you that your game is bad. I guess we're saying it's bad, but that's our opinion.
It's our opinion.
So, the neutral... Street Fighter 6 is supposed to be this super big bad, I am the way fighting games should be, apparently, fighting game, but it's the most casual game out there. You know what? This might be sacrilege to some people. I think that game is easier to play than Guilty Gear Strive.
Oh yeah. Because Guilty Gear Strive may have the mental set of a lobotomized monkey, but at least you gotta play within that game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Strive have more going on in Street Fighter 6 at least.
The meter system alone has more going on.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that the only way Street Fighter becomes normal Street Fighter, and I know Street Fighter, there's no such thing as normal Street Fighter because the series kind of changes.
It has no identity, really.
It has no real identity, but what I mean
but
is...
it do have a core way of being played.
But I thought Street Fighter at its core was supposed to be about with punishing, neutral, all these things. And I'm fine with neutral skipping tools, but neutral skipping tools used to be built into the character. If you pick Yun, you picked Yun because you didn't want to play neutral.
But he had flaws to back that up.
But he had flaws. I mean, I don't really remember Third Strike. I don't think he was a perfect thing, but he was pretty much a glass cannon if I remember correctly.
Yeah, same thing with 4.
So, and people like Mikado didn't have to play neutral, but she was explosive and she had bad range.
You can shit on her, but she shit on you with the right reads.
And that's how usually how those neutral skipping characters should be. And then you get like Chun-Li, who has a solid toolkit. She has an answer for pretty much everything. She has a good anti-air. She has long range normals. She has a good fireball she can walk behind. She has good cross-ups. She has a lot of gimmicks. I get that, but all that is built within the character. Now every character is Yun.
Every character not Yun. Every character, every top tier in Street Fighter 6 plays the same.
The exact same.
The game is just about how well that character paired with the
draft system.
The system mechanics. It's not that Ken isn't top tier for being Ken. Ken is top tier because Ken plays system mechanics well. JP plays system mechanics well. Jury plays system mechanics well. Cammy, Shugli, they all play system. They are good at playing Street Fighter 6, which is indicative of the bigger problem that Street Fighter 6 do not translate to any other fighting game, how it used to. You can get better at other games through playing Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 3. It would teach you lessons how to play these other games as well.
And I'm not saying...
Even MK!
And I'm not saying Capcom is responsible for that.
Yeah, they are.
But that's kind of written in Street Fighter's DNA. Street Fighter has never been this hardcore fighting game. Actually, Street Fighter has been a pretty casual series.
Yeah, I agree.
Street Fighter 4 was the game that put it over the top with the one frame execution on his normals.
And it wasn't that bad.
But what I'm saying is, Street Fighter 2, for what it is, isn't some hardcore fucking, you have to do this and that. It became that over time, but I don't think Capcom's focus with Street Fighter has ever been to make this hardcore fighting.
And that's only because the only reason Street Fighter 2 like that now, because I think Street Fighter 2 about to hit heat death.
Okay, but Street Fighter 6 is just, man, we should have did something so we can articulate this stuff better. But we're about to wrap it up anyway. But Street Fighter 6 is indicative of every other Japanese fighting game currently. You got neutral skips, and then you got neutral skips on the characters, then you got neutral skips on the core mechanics, and it just turns to a game where everybody is just flipping on each other, and the game is about explosions and killing somebody in 2 hits. The game it's not even a proper match until somebody gets steamrolled.
Help me out with this.
Okay.
Casuals like it because it makes them feel powerful.
Yeah.
High level people, quote unquote, like it because it's money involved and it's low impact. It's like cardio. Like, I don't know. High level people like it. Help me out. High level people like it because it's money involved. It's expensive.
That's the way I'm seeing it, because now it's all about money. It's not about the passion of the game anymore. Look at MK1, going back to MK1 again. MK11 was such a bare bones game that NRS and WB threw money at the game to make it liked.
They weren't spending it on the game.
But people would pay, people would go to tournaments because there was money involved, not particularly because the game was good. Now look at MK1. MK1 has a way smaller prize pool than MK11 ever had.
And it's a better game.
But it's a better game, but on Combo Breaker is Mortal Kombat's bread and butter. That, it didn't even hit top 8 entries. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
It didn't even hit top 8 entries. That's the problem. The game is not being fixed, and the game is not being played about love anymore. It's being played about money. So the money's not there, so people like Sonic Fox are going away from the game. All these top level players are going away from the game because there's no money to make. But if the game was about passion, if people played the game about passion,
like Street Fighter 4, like MK9, like MKX, like even some bits of Street Fighter 5. Street Fighter 5 wasn't that terrible of a game.
It really wasn't.
It wasn't the best, and it cleaned up well at the end.
Street Fighter 5 got better like season 3.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is the top level players I think don't like the game, at least the direction of the game currently. And a year patch, you gotta sit here and deal with this shit for an entire year.
That's fine. That's cool because we can just keep shifting around tier lists. Is it Ken JP Luke or is it Luke Ken JP? No. It must be JP Luke Ken. Let's just keep shifting around these three characters ad nauseum forever to pretend this game actually has something to talk about.
And then when the patch do come out and they do the bare minimum, because there's nothing you could do. You cannot fix every problem with one patch.
That's a bad idea.
You cannot fix. So when that patch come out and people like, oh, the game is great for the first couple of weeks, and then realize it's still bad unless they do something drastic, unless it's like almost a new game.
I'm not here to propose fixes for Street Fighter 6.
Oh, fuck Street Fighter 6.
I think Street Fighter 6 can be a really good game.
If you enjoy it, you enjoy it.
Okay. Street Fighter 6, I think there's a really, really amazing fighting game buried underneath the dumb mechanics. There is a really good mechanic. I don't care if people cope about, oh, well, you can react to drive impact. I don't like it. It's not a good mechanic. It's a spectator mechanic. Drive Rush. Drive Rush might be a bigger problem because Drive Rush forces every character for the most part
to play the same,
approach the same way.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest problem. I wish it wasn't so character stifling. They brought back, they gave characters all these moves under the impression that MK6, that Street Fighter 6 was going to be this return to form where we don't hold players back. Because the V system in Street Fighter 5 held characters back. It was a power level gator, okay? That's all the drive system is another method of controlling characters.
I guess. I just don't like it.
It's the same, it's not literally the same thing, but all they did was took your peanut butter sandwich and made it jelly.
Okay.
That's a bad analogy, but what I'm saying is it's virtually the same thing. It's another way to control characters.
Yeah, well, maybe we should wrap this up.
Okay, this is 35 minutes. This is the first time doing this. Whoever stuck around, give me a thumbs up, give me a fighting games are doomed in the comments.
It was just a bug up about the
modern fighting games are doomed in the comments. Modern,
not indie, and so far not SNK.
And this is why I found it more fun to go back to the past because we've been playing here. Kurno's Revenge,
Sailor Moon.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, like all these games.
I've been playing Kurno's, and sure, Kurno's is broken. Kurno's is bullshit, but it's fun. Characters are allowed to be characters, however they turned out.
Yup.
Characters are allowed to be characters. This guy can kill you, and this guy can stun you just by mash and punch, or something like that, right? Yeah, it's bullshit, but there's no limiter. There's fun. Fighting games are fun when there's no limiters.
When you just allowed to pick a character and express yourself within the bounds of that character.
Yes. Like I said, so once again, this was Ranty. This is a much different video, our style of video that we would usually do.
We had a bee in our bonnet.
We had a big ass bee in our bonnet. It stung our heads, and it's one of those super bees that don't die when they sting you. So it kept stinging me.
It's Africanized.
It's dangerous. It's disgruntled. So if this is Ranty, I'm sorry. This is the first time.
Thank you for sticking around.
Thank you for sticking around. If you did. We'll have a Mash Masters out on Friday, and that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.